Hi, thanks for tuning in here today. Today we're going to be doing a nice little fun painting. I hope you can follow along with me. Let me have them run the colors across the screen that you'll need to paint along with me. While they're doing that, let me explain what I have up here on my canvas or on my easel. I have my regular 16 by 20 inch canvas, pre-stretched, double primed, and I added a thin layer of the liquid white. Rather than that, it's slick, it's wet, and it's ready to go. We can get started with today's painting. So for today, we're gonna go crazy. Let's go straight off the bat. A little bit of sap green and phthalo blue, and a little bit of white. That looks like a phthalo green color. We want it more to the blue side rather than the green side. We're gonna do a painting that, it's nice and creative, but also at times can be nerve-wracking, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I got this sort of turquoise color. We're gonna go in with our 2-inch brush and just tap some paint into the bristles. Now, make sure you have enough paint in the bristles and just come up here and just something up here just for a sky. There. So all I'm going to do is just go across with that same dirty brush, go up and down, and go side to side. Now, let's go ahead, let's add in a little bit of water down here. So maybe out here, just maybe there's going to be a little something out there. Let's go ahead, let's get crazy. Let me grab a little bit of mountain mixture and grab my 1-inch, a little bit of cadmium yellow, and just wiggle my brush through it. Now, this is just for a little grass indicator. Maybe, well, if there's going to be water, maybe the whole thing, right? You can always change things on the spot. A little bit of bright red just to kind of tint it. Let's come up here and just shoom. Maybe there's one right there. Just adding in a few little tree trunks, and we can fix them when we decide where they're gonna go and what. So we can add distance and all that good stuff. Maybe this one's going to be out here. Who knows? We're just having fun. Just put them at random, because if you start making it look like repetitive, then it's not as interesting. Maybe this one goes out there. So you see how it kind of has that change. Let's go ahead, a little bit more mountain mixture, and just add it into our brush. Just different shades. Maybe this one's going to be back there. Maybe this one right there. This one can go right here. So Just kind of adding color, blocking it in. Maybe this tree kind of just right here on the edge. Okay. So, like so. Just to give me an idea of where I want certain things to be. There. Maybe this tree somewhere around there. This one just right at the border. Right there, a little bit behind. Here, this tree, you see it? Maybe this tree over here just comes down lower a bit. That way it creates a contrast from that one in the back. There. Just little basic. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, we have a simple idea. I know it looks like a mess, but you gotta trust the process really. Let's go ahead. A little bit of sap green, a little bit of black, and we're gonna chisel the brush. So wiggle the paint through and pull it straight through. Let's come up here and just few little, using the corner of a chiseled brush. You can use a flat brush. I don't have one right now, so we're using the corner of a chiseled brush, and you chisel it by wiggling the paint through and pulling it straight through. Now for the ones in the back, we can tap it, and I think tapping it will give it that sort of edge, and it gives it a feel of distance, and hopefully helps me achieve what I'm thinking in my mind right now. And if it doesn't, I guess we'll never know. And I think that's how painting should be done. Never tell someone, because then people start saying how it's supposed to look like, and it makes you look, people start questioning the way you thought of something. And with you just saying, you'll never know if that's how I intended, maybe not. And that creates a little mystique, and it allows people to view it differently and all that. Maybe that one's in the back. There. When you do that back, if you're doing it this way, you could think about it sort of like doing an evergreen tree. Okay, maybe over here, few little things. We'll come back to the ones in the very front. A little more green, a little more black. Shoot, you gotta have enough paint to do this. Every time I try to explain how to do this to someone, I always say you can't do a painting without paint. That's the reason why it's called painting. Because, and I do it time to time, people get scared to kind of use up their paint. But that's what was paint. That's the purpose of paint, to be used up, not to be stored. Kind of having a loose approach, not to be stored and saved for 25 years and all that. Yeah, don't waste paint. Don't just put it on your palette, let it dry, throw it away, and yeah, that's different. But I mean by, don't be afraid to to use paint, to put enough paint on your palette. And I believe if you put your paint in the freezer, if it's oil paint, it'll last you some time. Okay, so just shoot here and there. I don't want to worry too much about these in the front because they're our main stars. But just like that, it already gives you a view of where I'm going to kind of take this painting. A little bit of sap green, a little bit of that blue, and we'll take it through cadmium yellow. Let's come up here. We said right here. And now I'm going to start to kind of label where I want. That way when I go through it, I know where I wanted certain things to go. I don't want to lose that height difference and all that. I was gonna do something, but I'm contemplating if it's too late. You know what? Nothing's too late. Let me show you guys. Let me show you guys how you can always go back. Nothing's ever too late. Let's come up here, and this will create more of a forest feel because you're giving it backgrounds of tons and tons of trees. There. Now, is it harder to see the tree branches? Yeah, but we'll get them back. It's never too late. You can always work around stuff. Sometimes I would, and still to this day, I'll exclude some things from paintings because sometimes I do forget and I'm just like, nope, too late. But nothing's ever too late. It's just how bad do you want it in the painting. There. And you know what? To take it a step further, we're gonna do that. A little bit of sap green, wiggle the paint, and maybe there lives an evergreen tree right back there. And it'll create good contrast because everything's brown or going to be brown, and back there it's dark and all that. So kind of think of color coordination and all that. What are the colors gonna look like? Will it contrast one another? If it contrasts, how will it look? You have to have a basic idea before putting it. Yeah, do whatever you want, but have a little idea in your mind. Okay, I wanna do this. It's always good to have an idea. Okay, maybe let's have a big one out here. There. There we are. So let's go into a little bit of that blue-green color. It's gonna give us like a phthalo green color with a little bit of cadmium yellow. And let's come up here and just come up here and little bits of highlight. Now I might come back and just give it an extra little highlight just so it could stand out because it's not standing out the way I was hoping to, because there's already a lot of blue greenish colors and you need more different shades of green in order to make it stand. So we're going to go into a little bit more yellow, lighter color. Let's come up here and just boop, just maybe top half, just a few little. That makes it look like an extra little highlight. If you don't go through the whole tree with the whole highlight, you only do like halfway, or you could do a little bit more than half. But if you don't complete it, you could say it's partial light just zinging through there. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Okay, so now we can go ahead and work on our land out here. So just blocking in a bit of color, just get some color in there. It's okay if you cover up the tree branch a bit, as long as you have a little bit there. You still have a little bit showing. You can always come back and just fix that right up. Okay, kind of worked in reverse today, because I should have done the trees and all that, then the grass, then these other trees. But shoot, there's no issue as long as you get the job done. So just load up your brush, because without the background trees, you could see too much, in my opinion, and I did not like that. It was too empty. It looked like it went endless. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little bit of bright red to some green, just to make it more of a brown color. Just mix it up on my brush, and we said somewhere around these lines. I'm always open to kind of change a bit, so I'm not too worried about, oh, it has to be exactly where I put it the first place. No, it could change a bit, and that's all right. I think that's the true beauty of painting, the way a painting evolves through the whole painting time you're doing, or all that. There. This one, I believe, was somewhere around here. There. So already you get to see all that kind of take form, take a little bit of shape. And we can always do a path that kind of just leads the viewer's eye. Let's do a little bit of reflection. There. Grab the brush that we painted the sky and the water. Just pull down, and go across. Now, let's go ahead. Let's mix up a nice brown color this time. So, we have some green. We're just gonna mix up some bright red into that color combination. Mix it up until you get a satisfied color. When I say satisfied color, I mean color that you wouldn't mind having the whole painting filled up with. That's how I think, really. somewhere around these lines I'm okay with. And we're gonna add a little touch of white. Okay. I'm gonna take it through some bright red because they already had green. Just using my 1-inch brush and just tap in a few little indications of some highlight. So now we're for sure getting our light source from over here, if it wasn't already obvious with the evergreen trees. There. All I'm doing is just tapping down, loading up my brush and just tapping down. Just that little motion. Okay. And maybe over here there lives a bit. Maybe over here a little highlight. And right around here. Okay. So we have our basic. Now to that other brown that we pulled apart, we're gonna add a little bit of mountain mixture just for a little bit of contrast and shadow. And same technique. All I'm doing is just tapping down. All you gotta do is just tap, tap, tap. Okay. Now, let's keep going with it. Before I move on to something else, I have a habit of not even finishing one part and moving on to something else. There. We can always shape it, make it look different, old, raggedy. Okay. We can make it wider. All up to you. A little bit more black, just to darken it a bit more. There. It's a nice little simple way to get your highlights and shadows on instead of going in there with your palette knife. Now let's go into a little bit of sap green. We're going to some cadmium yellow. Load up the brush. And let's come up here and just zoom. Few little highlights. Load it up each and every time. There. We'll come back to the one in the back. Because for that one I have to chisel my brush, and since I didn't have it chiseled, I just wanted to make my life a little easier and just keep the painting going. There. Just a few little indications. Shouldn't take too long if you're nice and loose with it. If you're all tight and holding it. Sorry about that. We had some technical issues with the camera, but while the camera was off and I was talking to myself, I just continued adding highlights on this side of the tree The trees that were in the distance and had these little chiseled leaves, I have left alone. So, back to where I was. Finally, to chisel your brush, wiggle the paint, pull it through. Now let's go ahead and add some highlights to these trees that have these chiseled leaves, and just simply tap it. Just just like so. Shoom. There. Now, a few little out here. Just a few little things. Let's come up here and just. So now let's just grab the corner of the brush and just tap it down, and that'll create a layer of grass that'll help us distinguish or extinguish whatever the correct word is, the trees that are the layers and all that. So just using the corner really. There. And you can blend it all in together and make it seem like one. But the main thing is getting the trees and just getting that little bit there. Okay? Maybe a little grass grows up. It's going to eat up that tree. Maybe same thing over here. I've seen a few little trees with little leaf stuffs. Let's come up here and just a few little, or if you don't want to fully extend it, sorry about that, you can always just blend it out. So right here you can just go crisscross, blend it out, and you're good to go. So just tap, and maybe over here we're gonna blend these out. There. Okay, so now we go ahead. Let me take my brush through red since it has a lot of green. I need a brown. So just mixing the paints on my brush. That's really all I'm doing. Let's come up here and let's make our path kind of stand out a bit more. There. And let's add in a little bit of dirt here in between the grass and the water. You're just going back and forth, really. There. And let's go ahead and just bring down that tree. Let's add some highlights to it. Make it stand out. You can tap it. You can really, as long as you get the color in there, it really doesn't matter. A little bit of black to our brown. Just a little bit, just to darken it up. A little more red. And just darken that side up. We'll add a little bit more black just to add a few few more contrast. Okay, with our black, let's come up here. We're gonna use pure black. That way it stands out a bit more, because the other ones we use like a shade of green or lit, nothing but nothing except but pure black on this one. Everything else we did anything except pure black. So when you add pure black and you save it and you put it in, ooh, let's stick out. Maybe this one too. Few little things here and there. Now let me load my brush up with some yellow and shoom. There we are. There. That easy. Okay. So now, going back to our brown color, just mixing it up because I keep using the same brush, so it's going back and forth. Let's go ahead. Let's come up here. Let's decide. Maybe right here. Shoop. Shoop. Now, I think all of us at some point are just used to doing cabins and all that with pure palette knives. I want to break that. I want people to learn how to use this 1 inch, because with the 1 inch, you can learn how to do so many things. Like, it's unbelievable. It really is. Now, if this tree is in front, we can push the cabin back. So I'm going to avoid that tree. We'll fix it up right now in a sec, but the rest we're going to cover. And also because the footing, if the footing was behind, maybe, yeah, but the footing is in front, therefore making this tree need to stand out a bit more. There's a need for this tree to be there. There, you can always erase and kind of backtrack a bit. Okay, just a few little things, and just treat it like a palette knife, really. Look, shoom, a little bit of dark. Some dark would go right here. Now let's go into some light, a little bit more white. Come up here. All I'm going to do is just tap, and then we can just wiggle on some of that paint onto there. Shoom. Okay. The chiseled 1 inch, you can do pretty much anything. Shoom. There, just kind of changing the way I want it to look. A little bit red. Just change colors, really. And maybe a few little things in there. And maybe there's a window right there. Maybe right there. Maybe see a little wood slabs right there. Maybe over here you start to see them kind of go up and down instead. And last couple of finishing touches, a little bit of grass out here. I like to bring that up on that one. Let's go ahead. Let's go into a little bit of bright red. Just this nice, beautiful color. We're gonna add nice little campfire. Something that just feels good. So lighting coming this way. Shoom. Okay. A little bit more bright red. You can change the values and just mess around with it. Okay. A little bit of brown in there. Just to do a few little sticks. Little highlight. A few little highlights here and there. Now if you wanted to, optional but valid, if you want to, you can grab a little bit of titanium white and add in a few little water lines. There, maybe just around there. And with that concludes today's video. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Try this painting out. If you do, send me an email. I would love to see what you create. From the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care, my friends. Goodbye.